Yeah, you were talking about the love thing, and people out there, they want to grow spiritually, as they think, and they don't know it's more appropriate to say gain more awareness of life. So you find people obsessed or concerned with qualities like patience, forgiveness, tolerance, understanding, compassion, empathy, purity, humility, detachment, and of course, love. And actually, they use a wealth of words to express these qualities. Now, to many people out there, the new presentation seems to be dry, seems to be heartless, because these traits are not elaborated upon with however, the new presentation encompasses all these qualities because they are all God in the universal position, in the universal position that one adopts or one attains while in the new prison, while singing the new and being in contact with the guides. And in this position, one just shines like the sun, as Duane says. So this, I think that these qualities, uh, uh, we have them, and all what you're doing in the world now, trying to create awareness, stems from these qualities. If you didn't have, if the new friends didn't have it, they will not be concerned uh, about being real here, having real food, real water, real education, and all the like. It's because we exude these qualities. I want to think so. And people out there, they don't know. Well, I think it is because we don't emphasize on this attributes of these markers of what they call spirituality. And I want to think that it is the duty of new friends to make people there out there understand that all these things they are just adjuncts, uh, of the universal position that one attains. So, from the look of things, uh, as judged by from the utterances and write-up, uh, these qualities seem non-existent in the new presentation, but they are there. They are really there, and they are being expressed in actions and all that. But people don't see them just simply because uh, Duane doesn't drum on them, or the new friends don't go out there preaching about forgiveness or compassion. When you start saying all these kind of things, then people say, "Oh, these people are spiritual. They are this and that," and so they would learn. They'll give. They'll listen. But the way we present things in a very detached manner, in a very I don't know how to say it. the people think that the new presentation is devoid of all these qualities, and many may say, "Oh, these people are of the devil. They don't talk about love. They don't talk about the spiritual qualities and all the like. So there must be a group with some bad agenda for humanity." So that is what I sort of thought about today. So what does Dwayne can talk more on this as he had already started.
No, it's good, Charles, for people to understand this and to constantly go over it. It takes a lot. Just like anything, we just, we keep rehearsing the idea. We've all been through these things for lifetimes, all these ideas. And so people, for the most part, because of how one-dimensional things are here, they continually look for some type of conformity, something to conform to that has been known. This is what is called tradition. It becomes traditional. We just keep conforming to the same things. And here, the interesting thing is that people are always they're marching, they're revolting, they're demonstrating for freedom. They want rights, they want their rights, they want freedom. But what they don't see is that, just because it's like, just because they're nice people and they do good things, that should equal that they should be free. Well, again, you have other people here that aren't interested in that. They imply it, but just because you're a good person, just like in the corporation, there's a lot of there's a lot of good people there. They really are. They're very sincere with how they are, but at the same time, they're thinking that just because they're a good person and that they're joyful and that they're loving and all these things, that it will equal the real freedom that they want, and it won't. These are simply things you decide. That's all. You decide. So you can peel a banana and eat it, okay, which bananas are good, just like they are. But, if you decide to put honey or ice cream on it, like a banana split or whatever, well, that's something you've decided, okay? So again, these ideas that people try and incorporate, see, again, they're looking at their own conformity. This is where people, especially many people with the love idea, and it's really emotion. It's like, where are your feelings and why aren't you expressing that? Well, if I just express that, okay, then I'm simply conforming to what others want, and guess what? They won't see, okay, unless I nudge them or even agitate them in a way and say things in a particular. They're not going to recognize this reality. They're just going to keep conforming to their own personal ideas and stay one-dimensional. And they can be good people. That's what the controllers want. Hey, they don't want you to be unconformists. They want you to conform and be nice people. Be good little Christians or Muslims or whatever it is. And I'm not picking on these groups. Those are just labels, all right? So in other words, those are just labels of really some type of conformity. And it's not that we don't conform. Of course, we utilize everything. This is where you utilize everything. As I've said many times, everything in creation is fine. Every idea, every assumption, every quality, every rock, water, ocean, sky, whatever it is, tree, we love the trees, of course, and we love kids, and we love baby goats and kitties and all these things. Everything is fine. That is choice. But just because you love the cats and the dogs and the trees and nature doesn't mean that you're free. You're free to the point of making your decisions. Yes, you have free choice. You can make the choice. But realistically, within your own awareness, you are subject to the agreements that you have made with the environment you're in. That's all. And to recognize that. And so again, that does sound like kind of a scientific formula, doesn't it? But actually, when you recognize this reality and the position that you can have and how endless it is, it's so cool and awesome. And yes, the physical body is still the effect of things, but you can get to the point where it won't be. But you've got to figure that out. Just like you have to figure out how to pay the rent every month and, just do anything you do or get gas for your car, whatever it is. You got to figure it all out. That's up to us. So again, it's not going to come from someone else. This is where, again, the deceptive marketing ploy of the governments and the controllers, whatever it is, they have made they've gotten people to agree to think that they will take care of them and they're the answer, which is not so. But at the same time, realistically, the governments have their place. And that is that their whole idea is really to maintain what they imply. That's really it. But they've decided to do other things in the meantime also. So then it all becomes kind of funny. But again, this or that, this is just choice. Again, we don't need the governments, but we have them. So at the same time, we utilize what the governments propose or what they create, etc., because this is how the earth is. So we don't want to be too obvious, you might say, about what we're presenting, because we already are. Because again, people will panic, and they will really negate everything that we're doing until they so-called lawfully or legally shut everyone down, like they do in many countries, to where if you're not of a particular religion, well, you go to prison or you're destroyed. And this exists here too, but it exists it's done a different way. You see, it's just simply done a different way. It's all the end result is the same thing, but it's just done a different way. So in one country, they will specify that, okay, if you're not with XYZ religion, all right, okay, you're suspect, and we're going to come and arrest you. In the United States, let's say, in other countries, it's like they'll use GMO food, or they'll use Wi-Fi, or they'll use vaccines and whatever to do the same thing, to suppress people, keep them dumbed down, and ruin them and destroy them if they don't agree with the system. So there's many ways to do it. It's all done, but it just appears differently. And so there went Charles. He'll have to listen to his own recording. Yeah, so I appreciate Charles bringing these things up and activating, because you have to constantly rehearse this with yourself, and you decide how to do it. And here's Charles again. Yes, Charles, as you bring these things up, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, you're back and you're very clear. I was just saying that, it's rehearsing, just like rehearsing for a part. And, even when, actors are out there and there's a successful Broadway play, these people are constantly rehearsing. They're constantly refining their trade. And as I came through this in this lifetime to get the basis of things with Paul, etc., I studied a lot. I did a lot of things. I went out into the public for over 30 years, and confronted the public. And because that's where you really learn, is when you get up and decide to, share. Used to call it teach, but I don't use that word anymore. This is not a teaching. We're not teaching. We're educating. We're sharing. I like the group idea, not classes, etc. So kind of a step up, have our own position here. But to, as you do this, life then will show you how to become more aware, because life is the great adventure. It really is to take on the adventure and have all that at the same time. And so, you have all the this and that's in this world. And so, no, I appreciate, but it's constantly rehearsing this. Again, for the most part, when you're a follower of a spiritual path or whatever, yes, you practice certain things, you do yoga, whatever, it's all fine. But for the most part, your personal life is first. It's not that you don't have a personal life. It's not that you don't love or be happy. But myself, I like my focus. I see it. I see the clear purity life is, and the sincerity that is. And these are endless universes. Okay, here we breathe air. Okay, here we have situations, we have scenery, we have places we go, and things we do. This is how the earth is. It's an outer situation, basically. But when you can recognize the real universes, guess what? That purity, that sincerity, that humility, whatever it is, and better than that, is endless. And you stand in that to where you have no restrictions at all, no attitudes, no ideas, no relationships that cling to you. Yet the people that you do relate to, they're there. They're right there. And they're making their choices. And all of a sudden, you decide who you're going to relate to. So we've all come around to basically the people we've known for the longest time, because we keep agreeing to it, and we've done the same things. And it's fine. Go ahead. Do whatever you want. I'm fine with certain things. and etc. I make the choice, but what I see right here and now, this isness, this is the best part for me to focus on that, because I'm standing in endless universes already. And all you have to do is learn to see it. That's all. And then you become it. This is the real becoming of it. It's not a place you're going. No, there's no such thing as that. And so again, we have astral projection and all these phenomena that's going on. We have Gaia and all these things, which are fine. It's a step, but guess what? It ain't it. No, it's not about projecting somewhere. It's not about some thrill. It's like, oh, I was lucid in my dreams. No, it's all about awareness. It surpasses all that. But to recognize it, and again, for the most part, people try and relate it to this world. Well, I try and relate it to this world, creating something that provides the benefits for people to go through the process, for them to wake up and recognize. Because when we recognize each other, just like Val and Kelsey that are here, okay, we see each other, and we giggle about this a lot. We talk about it. We watch the movies sometimes as ideas, and we giggle about it a lot. That's the whole thing. And we don't really take it serious. That's not the idea either. You can be happy with it. You can take it serious, whatever. Those are attitudes. But, the reality of it, like the air you breathe, is there love in the air? Well, there only is if people decide it. But really, that's usually emotional stimulation, which is called love, right? So we have these feelings and we're giggling and whatever. And that's fine, too. It's wonderful. But at the same time, there's a lot more. And the situation we're in here on the earth and all the circumstances that are taking place, this environment here is dangerous. And so we're here to go through the process, just like boot camp when you're crawling under the machine gun fire. Hey, this place is dangerous. All of a sudden you realize, I want to go back with my mother. It was safer there. Yeah, so the thing is that if you want to get out there and be the real soldier and to be self-sufficient, this is what people don't, most people, they want freedom, but at the same time, they're agreeing to restriction. And the governments don't want people to be self-sufficient. They imply certain things like freedom, but they really don't want people to do that, or off the grid and all these things. Well, great. Okay, you got your own electricity and whatever. You're still at the mercy of the system because you're on the physical earth. Nobody is independent here. There's no such thing. And so even people that work for themselves or whatever say, well, I'm independent, I don't need the system. Yes, you do. You go to Home Depot, you buy hammer, you buy wood, you buy nails, you buy these tools, you're driving cars. You're not independent of anything. You're at the mercy of the system that you're in. And that's okay. That's all okay. So now you can wake up a little more and creatively utilize what you've come to know and take the risk to step into something that you've never known. That's the best part. I love stepping into the unknown. I don't know where we're going with this college thing. We might go all the way to the halls of to that boring place called Congress. So again, I don't know. I'm not looking at the end result. I just do it moment by moment. That's the best part. And I don't need to carry restrictions or old ideas or even look to the future. Again, prophecy and all this stuff, it's nonsense. You don't need prophecy. The real guides stand real, and with the all is, that's all you need. And then you start to see everything. And again, while you're in creation, you do something. So we don't just sit around and do nothing. We do something because the world's dying. You want to sit there and watch it die? It's dying. It's dying faster than you can realize. And what we're getting through Facebook and the internet and YouTube and whatever, this is just a drop in the bucket compared to what's going on. But it's not that we're to be concerned, but you decide what part of this adventure you want to take on. Because again, the overall is that you're here to become more aware, to decide to stand real with the all is. And when you do, it supports you 100%. But until you decide that 100%, it can't support you. So you're at the mercy of cause and effect creation. That's how real it is. No matter what you believe, no matter how happy you are, no matter what kind of a wonderful person and everybody loves you, etc. Well, that's fine. That's icing on the cake, but that ain't the cake itself. It's a lot better. And that's the part that's not seen. Most people look to the icing and they taste the icing and they go, oh, this is a great cake. They haven't tasted the cake. They just taste the icing. You see, that's the sugar-coated part that looks good. And that's fine. But to live for that, well, eventually you get diabetes, don't you? And all these other problems, et cetera, because you keep sucking in the world that is not concerned about you. And this world and the governments, hey, they don't, for the most part, they're not advertising love. When you look at the governments, they don't advertise love. They advertise forms and diplomacy and, diplomatic nonsense and rules, regulations, restrictions, and the poisoning the earth. Hey, where's the love? You see, why don't people ask the governments of the world, where's the love? Well, it ain't there. And if it is, it's a show, isn't it? We know what's going on. So, yes, it's like Val and Kelsey and I here. Yes, you might say we all love each other, but, it's real, and love is demonstrated, like Rebazar says, and that is you do something like a mother, taking care of her children. She demonstrates that. That's more so than just the emotional feelings that can be projected at any time. But for the most part, it's work, isn't it? It's showing herself and others and the children how to survive. That comes first. Look at the animals in nature. They're not sitting there loving each other. They're out there hunting and surviving and watching out for predators because this world is full of them, because this is how this place has chosen to be. So, yeah, all these little ideas, we've all come through them. Everybody has them already. So if we keep focusing on them, then we stay in this one-dimensional area of sound good ideas that really do not equal the reality of the real universes and the all is. Does not equal it. That's the difference. And so this is where, again, the spiritual teachings and the wisdom and whatever, it has nothing to do with the real universes. It doesn't even have anything to do with the sun shining. Can't even get to that point, but it does sound good, doesn't it? But it doesn't mean we don't do it. It doesn't mean we don't like our neighbors, or we don't love our neighbors or our friends or our cats or whatever. No, we do. But, you decide to get on with the adventure or not and take the risk. See, when you're taking the risk with something and making sense of it the best you can, life will back you. But unless you do, it can't. So what you're deciding to do is stay as the conformist. You're more willing to, just stay as you are and get the agreement from others that you're okay. You want to make sure that everybody thinks you're okay and doing the so-called right thing according to them. And that's fine. It's your choice. But I like to kind of bug people. And so I say certain things or joke around, etc. And I like to use the humor and move things around in a particular way. And Val and Kelsey know this. We have a lot of fun. We giggle about the funniest things because things are funny. But at the same time, we get something done. And so that's why all of you are here. We've gotten something done, but it's a lot more than this. So until you totally recognize yourself as that, not just the idea, okay, but stand really in that and recognize that, and that others will see you like that too. So you'll be seen on the real side. In many situations from others, they will have a viewpoint too. They become the witnesses, etc. So eventually it does show up when people have earned their awareness to see what's going on the real side with the real guides. And this is where many times that it's like, well, where are the real guides? Well, where's your attention? Where's your intent? You see, that counts more than even the heart of yourself. Where is your intent? Do you really intend to fulfill this self and to get going with it? Or are you just going to hang around the classroom, listen to the teacher, and sleep on your desk? So again, it's there's a process to it, and you got to kind of figure it out. That's your part. And then all of a sudden, things start to sneak in through those self-convictions and that conformity that comes first in your life, you see. So it's really up to you. How do you figure it out? How is it that you figured your life out so far? You're here, and at a certain point, after you've lived a whole life and etc., what do you say? Gee, I don't know what to do. Well, what have you lived your whole life for? Now you've got something that really does make sense, but yes, how are you going to make sense of it? And so this is where the real guides support each other. So Val and Kelsey see this, and others that have stepped up. It's really that supporting that's very, very important. And this is where we all, might say, bring each other up to a better understanding of things because we become involved. And this is, I can't tell people what to do. No one's obligated. But as you do step up, all of a sudden you start to see something else, don't you? But for the most part, most people are just too busy with themselves and all their little things and all their personal life that always comes first. Well, then you will just basically, what you're basically doing is you're planning your future here and into future lifetimes is what you're really doing, and not seeing it until you realistically see how this really works like never before. So everything that we've come through in this lifetime and previous lifetimes that looks so good and try to carry it over, guess what? It don't work anymore. It doesn't work. These Band-Aids don't work anymore. This is the new nowness. It's even better, but you have to recognize it, and you have to rehearse how to recognize it. And yes, it's more than the Rubik's Cube, but you know what? It's worth it. And so, yes, thank you, Charles. Yes, you stayed awake. Thank you. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay. Yeah, you've added to my understanding of this, what you started saying. We all have these qualities. I've gone through so many lifetimes, and in fact, I've seen going over the same routine again, same ideas, old ideas, doesn't really advance one's awareness. And that is the stock and trade of the religions. They set up institutions to teach people how to love, what the people already have, or they have already. You can't teach even the primitive person, the aborigines, in the deep forest, you can't teach them love. They know love already. So you said something very, very pertinent. And,
well, real fast here, young man. So when you look at it realistically, the love idea, what they're really promoting, because they've promoted it for so long, is how to love restriction. That's really what it is. It's not real love. It's just emotional attachment, and how to better love restriction. So everybody gets together and conforms according to these ideas that are promoted, and people wait for the ideas from the authority. You see, where did they get these ideas from? The Bible creators and all these things. You know, it is better to love thy neighbor and whatever. Okay, that's fine. But you keep doing that, and it's just agreeing to conformity. It's agreeing to restriction. Yes, and it's not about becoming more aware. Yes, go ahead, Charles.